Hello, guys. So, we are sitting with our little Susie, and I was gonna tell you an update about my job. And so, when I first started, it was August 10th, and then before that, like 2 days before, so I went, or 5 days before, I went to a training, and it was a 3 hour training, and they gave me a reading kit box, and it had poppers so that kids can know how to read, but with a popper, and it was rainbow. And then they gave me like a rainbow magnetic wand with magnetic chips. They gave me a mirror so that children can see their mouth as they make words. They gave me cue cards so I can teach children how to read better. They gave a demonstration about like a video about how to say every letter, and then a demonstration about how to talk about closed vowels, open vowels, and stuff like that. And it was a nice training, but it's August 31st, and I've never used anything I learned. And that was one of the first questions I asked within my first 2 weeks when I was in kindergarten and first grade. I was like, okay, so I have this box, this reading kit I did for my training. Would you guys be letting me use it? And I asked my teacher, Miss Hayes, who's a very experienced teacher, and I asked my other teacher, Miss Karen Rex. And so when I asked them, they were like, no, I don't need that in my class. And then the other first grade classes I went to, they didn't care. And they were like, I don't need that in my class either. And they didn't say that verbally, but they also never had me work in small groups. So today, as of the 31st, I just got notice that I am supposed to be keeping a tight schedule. So I'm going to stick to my schedule. I'm going to write down who I've worked with during my schedule. And I can't even write that down because I never helped any child read, and I haven't helped any child with math. And then she's like, this kit, my principal, she says, this kit is property of the school. That's why when you went to the training, it's like training. They're not just giving you a free kit to sit with at home. And I'm like, I'm not getting this for free? Because I feel like I deserve to get the kit for free. Because, like, I'm at home. And I'm a teacher, and I feel like I should be able to put it in a car and bring it home. And yeah, she said this is school property and it has to stay at the school. And I'm like, the school hasn't been tracking it for 4 weeks now. Now it's like time for me to get on my roll, and it's time for me to like hit up every class and make sure I'm following my schedule properly. And I am very much surprised because if I'm supposed to follow my schedule properly, these teachers need to follow their schedules properly too. And these teachers are not doing that, because if they were, then I would definitely be able to just do my job the way I want to do my job. Because honestly, the schedule is just like reading in the morning, and then I do math in the after lunchtime. And that would be cool if I just work with 5 students, go in, do my little small group, and go out. Because I used to want to get to know students in the class, but now I'm realizing that the students, they aren't the nicest kids to know. For example, when I go to Miss Likadupa class, her students haven't been very, like, the girls in the class especially haven't been that nice to me. Like, I know one girl, Baru, I went up to her to help her with her work, and then she walks away like 3 times to go ask the teacher for help. And then it was just literally reading a question. And I'm just like, I'm here to help you too. And that's the other thing. These kids don't respect me that much. And I don't really understand that, because there's other adults and they know, like, hey, this adult, I should respect them, but then it comes to me and they're just like, you don't know anything, I don't want help from you. That's like the energy I'm getting from these kids. And I don't understand that, because in a way their teacher don't know what she doing either. All she knows is how to yell and sound like a drill sergeant. And so there was another girl in her class. I go to help her, and then she skips over me to ask her teacher. And then there was another girl in the class today who asked me for help, then left to use the bathroom, like literally a minute after. And then she comes back and she's like, oh, well, the girl sitting in front of me can help me. And I'm like, okay. And then this same girl during lunch, she gave me her cookie. And she said the cookies at the cafeteria are disgusting. And she made that disgusting face. And she's like, I don't want this. And then she gave it to a girl across from her. And then the girl across from her gave it... Oh, wait, no. She tried to just hold it up in the air. And it was like she was holding it up for someone to take it out of her hands. Like, this is disgusting. And she held it up. And so I'm just like, okay, I'll take it. And then she's like, well, where's my cookie? And I'm like, I took it because you didn't want it. And she's like, well, I don't know why you did that, because you can't just take... Well, all she did was sit with her mouth open, and then her friend basically yelled at me for her. And she's like, you always eat kids' food. You cannot eat kids' food like that. And that's why kids don't like you, because you do that to them. And I'm like, girl, I've never taken food from you guys before. And I've worked with kindergarten, first grade, and you are second grade and third grade. And none of them can say I took food from them. You said the cookie was disgusting, and then you put your hand up like it's too disgusting for you to even touch. And everybody heard you say that. I don't understand why this is a big argument now. But anyway, I did go back to the cafeteria and I gave her another cookie because she wanted one. And then another girl gave her half of her cookie. And she's like, oh, well, you don't have to be upset. Here's half of my cookie. And then I gave her another cookie, and then she broke it in half. And I guess she gave it back to the girl, because, you know, they were sharing halves of cookies. But point is, I was just like, this conversation is way too dumb, because the kid held up a cookie and said it's disgusting. And she was like so disgusted by it, she was like gonna throw it away. And anyway, I've done that stuff before. Even now, I'll be like, I don't want this, and then I'll go back to it. But like, the fact that her friend was basically yelling at me made it so much worse than what it was. And this girl in class, she is always annoying. Like, she was mad in math. This was the first time I met her. And she was upset because a boy said Coco. And she was like, Coco is my cousin's name. That's my cousin's name. You can't say that. And she sounded like she want to fight him. And then even in class, she'd be like passed out on the floor. And then she gets mad at me for even talking to her. She's like, don't talk to me. Don't tell me anything. Don't tell me what to do. And I'm just like, what? And then sometimes she comes up to me for help. And then other times, she's just like, she don't want anyone to talk to her or touch her or nothing. And then if there's a problem, because one girl would be crying, she'd be like, acting like she's a good person and she cares about the girl and why she's crying when really she doesn't. Because there was a girl who started crying because no one wanted to sit with her. And then she's like, oh, well, I'll sit with you. And I'm like, you're only saying that because now she's crying. And then the rest of the day, the rest of the class, you never sit with her. You never care about the kid. And then the kids who you sit with and you see in class will call her crybaby and make fun of her for crying, and you don't say anything. And yeah, anyway, some of them kids, I do not want to work with them in a small group, and I'm glad I got a feel for my classes, and now I'm just like, you know what? I am ready for small groups because I do not want to know all 16 of you children, because some of you are just mean. And one boy said I laugh like a rat, and I'm just like, that isn't funny. And still the boys in the class are a bit nicer, but I still am just like annoyed by them and their behavior. Because in another second grade class, there was a boy and he punched a girl in the stomach, like while they were in the cafeteria line for no reason. And I thought this guy was a cool kid. Then there was another boy and he was pushed on the ground by another kid in the class. And I'm just like, the kid pushed you because you're not nice and you pick on people. And I didn't know that about this kid. Because when I see him get pushed on the ground, I'm just like, oh, that's random, boys are fighting. But no, he was messing with a nice, sweet, quiet kid. And then the kid is like, no, you're not going to mess with me anymore. And then he pushed him, and it was like self-defense. And it's just things like that. You think a kid is nice, and next thing you know, they're picking on people and actually starting fights. And that's when I'm just like, you know what? I don't like this kid, because even if your parents aren't helping you to be like a good person, you still don't listen to me when I'm trying to be nice to you, and you don't listen to anyone, and you don't come to school to learn, and it makes me look bad, especially and embarrassing, because I can't get a class under control. And I kind of get why teachers want to yell and why parents want to yell, because they feel like this child and what they're doing is directly reflecting them and their own self-esteem. But these kids don't represent me. Like, a lot of these kids, they're just mean and crazy for no reason and don't listen to anybody unless someone's trying to like beat them with a belt. And I'm not going to do that for these kids. I'm not going to raise my voice to them and keep going back and forth with them. And yeah, that's my little rant.